Well, it's official, folks. Stranger Things has wrapped up filming. Millie Bobby Brown has said a final goodbye to the telekinetic, nose-bleeding sporting queen of Hawkins. After years of fighting demigorgons and dodging shady government labs, Millie is closing the chapter with tears, truth bombs, and absolutely zero regrets. From an emotional last day on set to calling out the media's obsession with her looks, the young actor isn't holding back. Buckle up as we dive into the heartfelt farewell, the chaos of growing up in the spotlight, and what's coming in the show's epic final season. Starting with the actor's emotional goodbye. In a recent interview, Millie peeled back the curtain on what her final day looked like, and spoiler alert, it was a full-on emotional rollercoaster. We're talking about reaching for tissues and ugly crying levels of emotion. Apparently, she walked onto set thinking she was emotionally bulletproof. The actor was sure that she would be absolutely fine and that this was just another day at work. But as the day went on, reality hit her like a demigorgon in a bad mood. She started noticing all the tiny, mundane things that suddenly felt massive. Her last call time, her last wardrobe fitting, even her last coffee on set. The Stranger Things star said that she cried a lot, and with every scene, every hug, every final take, the weight of almost a decade's worth of memories just came crashing down. And the icing on the cake was when the actor shared a montage of throwback photos and behind-the-scenes moments on Instagram, plus a video of the heartfelt speech she gave on set. In this video, she likened her departure to graduation. Millie said that her graduation was supposed to bring relief, where you feel glad that you leave behind the teachers and classmates, but that wasn't the case for the actor. According to her, she was nowhere near ready to leave everyone. And in the end, she told the cast and the crew members that she loved all of them and would forever carry the memories and bonds they created together as a family. And there's more to the story. Millie also gave the final season the stamp of approval it deserves. According to her, it's worth the wait. And when Eleven says it's worth it, well, you listen. She gave a shout out to the Duffer Brothers for crafting a show that spanned nearly a decade without losing its heart or its mystery. She basically said, let the Duffers cook. And seems like the fans will let them do just that. At the premiere of her Netflix film The Electric State in early 2025, she urged fans to stay patient and that they were in for a treat. Gaten Matarazzo, who plays Dustin on the show, also reflected on the final stretch. He described it as emotional and jarring, saying it hit him just how fast time has flown by. And can we blame him? These actors basically grew up while being hunted by supernatural horrors during the show. So as the cast walks into new roles and new adventures, there's one thing we can all agree on, right? The bonds built on this show aren't going anywhere. Speaking of growing on the show, Millie opened up about the dark side of her fame. Now imagine getting launched into global superstardom at the age of 10. Welcome to Millie Bobby Brown's childhood, which is nothing less than a wild ride. In a raw and revealing interview, the young actor didn't sugarcoat the reality of child stardom. She opened up about the intense scrutiny she's faced since day one. And let's just say it hasn't always been rainbows and sunshine. Fame came with a cost, and that cost was her privacy, self-esteem, and sometimes her peace of mind. She spoke about the unique challenges of growing up under the microscope, especially on social media. Trolls were quick to pounce, and when the actor turned 18, she was met not with balloons and cake, but a bucket full of gross and inappropriate content online. And don't think for a second that Millie's just sitting back and taking it. Oh no. She called out the industry's lack of protections for young actors, especially when childhood contracts get leaked and media speculation runs wild. According to Millie, there's too much looking and not enough safeguarding. Despite it all, she made it clear acting is her passion and she won't be going anywhere anytime soon. And to stay sane, the young actress isn't shy about firing back at her trolls whenever they do pop up. Now, Millie was only a kid when she became an overnight sensation. She was praised left and right for her phenomenal acting skills and undeniable star power. But as we all know, fame, it's a double-edged sword. While the actor was busy conquering the upside down, a darker side of the spotlight crept in. Suddenly, some people decided that instead of cheering her on, they would take shots at her body and appearance. Yeah. For a long time, Millie stayed silent, but in the early March of 2025, we saw a shift. Seems like this rising star is done sitting quietly in the corner. She took to Instagram with a video that was equal parts fiery and heartfelt, setting the record straight on the unfair and downright toxic scrutiny she and by extension many young women face growing up in the public eye. Millie kicked things off with some hard truths. She said, "I started in the industry when I was 10. I literally grew up in front of the world, but for some reason, people refuse to grow up with me. Instead, they expect me to stay frozen in time, looking exactly like I did in Stranger Things Season 1. Yikes, talk about unrealistic expectations. The young star thinks that just because she grew and changed, she suddenly became a target for cruel comments. The video wasn't just a polite request for respect. Well, this was a full-on call-out. Millie even named names, blasting certain articles and writers for spreading toxic narratives that don't just criticize, they drag young women through the mud for clicks and cheap thrills. She called out the so-called journalists who, instead of questioning why grown men would mock a young woman's appearance, happily amplified the insults. It was harsh but absolutely necessary. She even read out some of the horrible headlines such as, "Why are Gen Zers like Millie Bobby Brown aging so badly? And what has Millie Bobby Brown done to her face?" And wait for it, things are about to get even worse. The actor pointed out that some of the worst offenders were actually women themselves. That's right, some writers who are supposed to uplift young women are apparently the biggest cheerleaders for tearing them down. Millie didn't mince words on this hypocrisy. She said that we love the rhetoric about empowering women, but in practice, tearing them down seemed way easier. Despite all the attacks, she stood her ground, refusing to let anyone shame her for growing up naturally or for simply living her life all on her own. In her own words, "I will not apologise for how I look, how I dress, or how I present myself." She went on to highlight the weird societal norm where it's apparently easier to throw shade than throw comments. She also said, "Why is the knee-jerk reaction to say something horrible rather than something nice?" The video wrapped with a powerful message not just for herself, but for every young girl out there. Let's do better. Not just for me, but for every young girl who deserves to grow up without fear of being torn apart for simply existing. Millie's Instagram statement was loved by pretty much everyone, with both fans and celebrities praising her for speaking up and calling out the bullies. And while she's been busy standing strong off screen, fans are eagerly waiting to see how her character story wraps up on screen, because Stranger Things' final season is just around the corner. So let's talk about what's next for the show. Don't close the gate to the Upside Down just yet, there's one final thrill ride to take. Stranger Things Season 5 has officially wrapped, and 2025 is going to bring us the end of an era. Millie may have said goodbye, but the story's not over. Well, not for us. The Duffer Brothers promised us a season that's big and epic, and if there's one thing the Duffer Brothers don't do, it is underdeliver. Ross Duffer took to Instagram to reflect on the journey, reminding fans that this wasn't just a TV show, it was the childhood of many of its stars. From ages 10 and 11 to full-grown adults, these kids literally grew up in Hawkins. He also shouted out to the crew, some of whom have been there since Season 1. According to Ross, everyone poured their hearts and souls into Season 5, and it shows. New cast members also joined the last ride. These include the likes of Nell Fisher, Jake Connolly, Alex Bria, and brace yourselves, Linda Hamilton. Now, what do we know about this final season? The lore's about to go deep. The Duffers revealed that they've had a 25-page mythology document since Season 1, and finally all those mysteries they've been holding on to will be resolved. Season 4 might have just given us some crumbs, but Season 5 is coming in strong with a full feast. You should expect shocking reveals, heartbreaks, and maybe, just maybe, a hint of hope. And with that, it's a wrap on today's video. What are you expecting from the final season of Stranger Things? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and see you in the next video with the latest updates.